of the Phoenix Mercury, Diana Taurasi. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Whippy. Whoopi.
That's the same.
Recording live from three locations. This is Pass the Rock. I'm Patrick, and as always, I'm joined by two great men, Caesar, a.k.a. LCs.
What's up, y'all? Check out the new hat. You'll be seeing a whole bunch of this during the off season. Holla at your boy.
Like, again, it's very difficult to actually see the hat, but I think
that's also a lighting issue. Yeah.
Doesn't help that
you kind of got it whenever you get into the light. You can get it.
Yeah, there you go. The licks, baby.
And of course, we're also joined by Jacob, aka Bethke.
Just the generic regular hat today.
The Rob Lowe.
Yeah, the Rob Lowe. Double Rob Lowe.
Yeah.
It's the staple.
For the special occasion.
Well, yeah. So we obviously missed last week, but we're back firing. So we'll touch on a couple of things over the course of both weeks, really.
But we're not Justin Tugger. We're going to ask you to touch inappropriately.
No.
I didn't know it was on the table, but I'm glad that we've eliminated any possibility.
Well, other things were on the table according to the ladies there.
There it is. But no, yeah. Last week we had the final game of the Four Nations Faceoff, USA Canada. We didn't really get to talk between when it started and when it finished, so
it was some good,
US,
and then
the US played really well in the qualifying games or whatever. They beat everybody they had to, including Canada. And then in the final against Canada, we did what we've done the last 30 years and crap the bed. So a little sad. Nice to see. Good break. Obviously, we'll touch a little bit on what the NBA was doing at that time, and it's safe to say at least the internet wanted to loudly tell everyone the NHL did a better job, although it's wildly non-comparable things at all.
And I would still argue that it's a big gap between the people that were actually going to switch from one program to the other.
Absolutely.
That's the thing is I even had Payman texting me about it. I'm like, bro, I'm not feeling very patriotic right now. I don't give a fuck about Team USA or
That's what I like about
This
sports.
is not my culture.
I can be proud of the flag without having to worry about anything except for what happens on the ice.
I was like, fuck them. I don't give a fuck. I was like, I don't give a shit. I'm not watching that. But
it was great. I think it was the highest ratings hockey's gotten around here in a long time.
That's good.
And the USA
stateside, it was good for rating states.
Absolutely stateside, yeah. Especially compared to just whatever they would have been doing for an All-Star game,
right?
No,
is this okay? This is new. Okay,
this is new. I mean, they've had international tournaments, but outside of the Olympics, this is the first thing that's ever really pretty much had this high level of the best teams.
So
possible,
that's good. I mean,
except for Russia.
A part of it is just there's going to be people like me that are either going to be stubborn or they're going to be slow to change to notice it, and even if they're in the sports.
And I guess this is going to be every 2 years or something. I know they're not doing it every year.
That's soon. I don't hate that.
Okay,
it's got to somehow alternate with how the Olympics works.
So it's gonna but FIBA does that with the Olympics too, right? Basketball, but it's that's why we end up sending the goofy kids to the FIBA stuff, and the big dogs to the Olympics.
And we do that with plenty of qualifying stuff for sure. We're not sending
actually
NHL players to go play Olympic qualifiers.
The qualifying stuff for basketball is absolutely hilarious. You'll really I forgot. Old fucking shooting guard for Knicks, Langston Galloway. That dude has just made a career out of being the guy who goes out and scores the most points for us and qualifies us.
Hey, being Team USA guy is good. You get to. They'll probably trust you to train some youngsters.
You gotta stay in the ether. You gotta be around the basketball. You gotta be, it's all good for that qualification.
And it's a great program to have a job with later when you can't play.
Yeah, and if it can actually pay you decently, it's got to be way better than a high pressure, high demand job like the NBA.
Yeah. Well, anyways, it was fun. An unfortunate end for us. But it was cool to see, especially with Team Finland. We had a few stars playing. It would have been nice to see Jason Robertson on the U.S. team. I assume he's probably going to be on the Olympic team when that comes up next. But to transition into our little local hockey club, he's kind of come out on fire after that. So the week off, and then maybe some slight feelings of being snubbed or whatever.
That means Super Bowl.
He got a hat trick in the second period in the second game back. Team looks really good. We're the third best team technically in the league right now.
Yeah, I'm popping up the standings. I need
Winnipeg and
fucking point system.
Winnipeg's goalie is just wrecking everything.
Okay.
But outside of him, and I think in a 7-game series, I don't know how they're going to do, but we'll see.
Winnipeg has a cool logo. I would
Jets,
argue.
Yeah.
I would argue it's the most. It just doesn't fit the country, but that's too on the nose right now.
I mean, they still fly jets.
Who's Jets? So, the Dallas Stars. How is the power play?
Fine. Everything's fine right now. I mean, like I said, if it wasn't
they're second in the West. So
if it wasn't for Winnipeg's goalie, who might actually win MVP, which is a crazy thing to think about in today's NHL, but no one else is really exploding off the page so hot in the other offensive categories. So people are at least he's at least in the conversation right now, which is wild. If it wasn't for him, we'd be the best team in the West right now. We're really banged up on the defensive end, so that's what you got to look at going through the rest of trade deadline or end of the season. Just what the heck we can do with the lack of bodies on our defense.
So, just giving this a good old box score glance, they're mid as fuck away. I mean, mid as fuck. Like, this is 17, 12, and 1 is mid. I don't care how much the percentage might make that look nicer. Because especially when it's juxtaposed to 27 and 1 at home, that's crazy. That's obviously something. Maybe not a big deal, but it's like in the playoffs, is this a thing where they're going to try to turn it on and be more serious?
Well, it's also
regular season.
It's been a really weird year scheduling wise. With the season started, then we took a trip to Finland.
Yeah,
and then we came back. Then we had this Four Nations thing. But I mean, yeah, obviously, you'd like to see a more consistent play on the road. But then that's just kind of the name of the game. I'll take the points that we have right now versus just about anybody. So
it's the next matchup for the Dallas Stars.
They're playing
every time I look, these guys. Shout out to the NHL. How many games do they play a season?
It's 82, just like the NBA.
They do.
Wait,
I feel.
really?
I don't know if this is factual. I thought so. I didn't know if this. I didn't know this is factual at all. I feel like they do a better job of balancing the schedule.
We got LA on Friday night.
Every time I check, I feel like
they're less concerned with we need these teams to play on Christmas. We need to get ESPN here for this game.
Oh, yeah, there is a lot.
I mean, I'm sure the nationally televised games skew more towards Toronto and all them, but they're not like making scheduling decisions based on that.
Yeah, I mean they've got to play, so they'll put them on when they're playing. That makes sense. Yeah, damn. Because every time I go to check the Stars, I always feel like there's 2 or 3 days in between every game. Man, that is what we
You'll
need.
get back-to-backs for sure. Next Saturday and Sunday, the March 8th and 9th, it's probably our next back-to-back, I think. Yeah. But, you get a lot of 3 games in 5 days kind of stuff. Anyways, so yeah, they're looking all right. We're hoping maybe to figure out some way to add another defenseman. I guess I think they removed Tyler. No, they pulled.
Wait,
what was the roster move they did today?
Because I'm not super familiar with the NHL trading deadline. Is that up yet, or can moves still be made?
No, yeah, I think it's March 8th or something.
Wow, they have their trade deadline really late into their season, don't they?
I think I'm not sure if the Four Nations thing played into that this year or not.
Yeah, that may have actually pushed.
Oh, is there not like a hard deadline like in the NBA or in the NFL where the week that it's supposed to be?
Well, I think the hard one is only the NFL because they always do it on a certain week.
Yeah.
The NBA is usually the same time frame, but it's not the same day every year. It's a Thursday usually at 3 p.m. is if I remember correctly.
Let's see. So on March 7th, they'll have played. Yeah, that does feel like it is pretty late in the year, doesn't it? And maybe
because
some of
doesn't
that's
their
just how
season start in
it's-
October?
some of it's just how, I mean, yeah,
How
it
much-
runs concurrently with the NBA.
How much
basically.
How much trading in comparison to the NBA does there happen in the NHL? Because I would argue that it's better for them to have a pushback one, but I don't think it's good for the NBA because I think for the NBA teams it actually drastically hurts them because of how much the trade rumor mill is a part of the NBA life cycle. I think teams struggle to form by not being formed quicker. You know what I mean?
Maybe, and the chemistry is going to matter just as much in hockey though as
Yeah.
one time on that ice. But I think especially with the way that their CBA works, like you are daily managing your cap. Like who's on the team today is
Well,
hitting.
but
the
I mean,
cap.
the rumor mill isn't
That's
this. I guess I do wonder how much.
Well,
the rumor
it's
mill
where we
is in
are and how
Boston,
much-
Toronto.
Yeah,
like they
yeah,
get
absolutely.
this shit more.
Yeah, it's the same as it would be anywhere
Yeah.
else. Just you got to be in a more hockey market to hear it.
The trade markets. I mean, that stuff is really the killer more than the time. I think professional athletes can get together and figure things out quickly without a lot of the pressure. But constantly having, the trade machine going is usually not great because these guys are all online a lot. Maybe hockey isn't as plagued by online users of.
Oh, it definitely is. You're just not.
But
You're not in
yeah.
that world.
then I feel bad for those guys. I don't know why. If I was a hockey bro, I definitely wouldn't be on the internet. Definitely wouldn't be on the internet.
So I just noticed,
I'm trying.
Patrick. So the number one threat in the West to the Stars would be the Jets, right? Because they're on a 10-game winning streak.
Yeah, like I said, their goalie is just standing on his head. So
Yeah, because
You
I'm
can't
looking
really
at that
do much
point.
against
I'm
that.
looking at their point differential right now, and I'm like, geez.
yeah, we're probably not catching them for the season, but I'm not too concerned about that.
I mean, as long as we get some sort of home ice advantage, right? Because
We would
And
round
that-
one. I don't remember how they do it all weird in the NHL now, where it's like 3 teams from each division, and then there's 2 wild cards from the conference. I don't like the way I wish they would do some reseeding in that, but
the Minnesota Wild are the opposite of the Stars.
can't win
Mid at home, can't win
Yeah.
at home, but they are juggernauts on the road.
Yeah, and for a while this season they were ahead of us. We got off to a pretty slow start in some fashion, but we finally caught back up with them. But the Jets, like their goalie's just Hillebuck has had such an insane year that I'm not gonna catch them. And that's okay. But and then I think the only actual real news with them was yesterday. Sagan started skating again, which I don't know how they're gonna try. Because the whole thing where he's on the injured reserve, if you want to use his money, he's got to go in the long-term injured reserve, and then he's got to be out pretty much through the rest of the season. But it looks like maybe they're not doing that. I don't know. We'll see. Being a hockey GM sounds exhausting.
It's a luxury to not have to, rely on Sagan the way that the team once did.
No, but it'd be great to use his money to bring in a defenseman since we only have like 4 okay ones and not a couple of all right guys. But with that, we'll move to the other team that I follow sometimes closely, the Texas Rangers. Started spring training. Not a whole lot of news right now.
I do have a hypothetical though.
Pumped for the season. It's kind of all I got on that. What's your hypothetical?
I had to force something in here. I did.
No, yeah, you're good.
What would it take, or how what would it take for Sebastian Walcott to be on the move in order to win a title this year? What do you think? What do you think it is? I know it's hard to answer because we don't know how bad this team is going to be in certain aspects, or good, obviously.
I mean, it's literally on paper, they're awesome. It's just how many pitchers are healthy from now till the end of the year.
And I still think they're going to be really fucking great in a lot of ways, but they're still, do we get Bombi back for real? is Wyatt truly going to take a massive leap? Josh Young, is he going to play the whole season? That's all I'm asking.
Young and Carter, that's the biggest. The health there is really
Evan,
the biggest question on that
I'm
side.
very patient with Evan Carter. I don't think that he was a super surprise when he happened and then he got hurt. And now it's like, all right, let's make sure you get that corrected before you.
I mean, he was supposed to be good anyways. That's why he was up there. But
no, I get it. But I just felt like it was, and I feel like I've seen enough of Evan Carter to where I don't know that he's like the next great player. Like Sebastian Walcott is just from an athletic standpoint incredible. Like it's pretty incredible what he has, and Wyatt as well. Wyatt Langford is stupid athlete.
Yeah, he probably should be an NFL player, but he made a better career move.
he's a running back. He really is.
He could be the next Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, so I guess that's it's the only interesting thing I could think because like I know the free agency's done. The team is what it is. It's an interesting question because where do they play him? Obviously not this season. I think the goal for him this season is to maybe be the number one prospect in all of the MLB if he has a good season in Frisco, right?
Yeah, it could happen. I mean, you wouldn't be too upset if he made it up. If he makes it to the league or if he makes it up to the team this year, that's either because he forced his way up.
But then what are we doing?
Or some massive injury took someone out.
Whose job is he taking is the worry. Because, I mean, there's a lot of old guys on this roster. So it's not unlikely that's the case.
Seager would have to go down pretty significantly.
Because, this guy's a shortstop for real. And I think the goal, perfect world, is Seager plays shortstop a year or two maybe, and then
start DHing him a little more.
DH. I mean, yeah, DH. I don't know where I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't know where the next place you put shortstops are when they get old. Isn't Altuve doing that?
I mean, some guys move, some guys just don't want to do that. So,
all right.
Well,
and then,
I understand that aspect, but I said perfect world here. So, perfect world means the player is also happy.
I would think right field, but
okay, yeah.
So, Bethke, just so everybody knows. Sebastian Walcott currently, at least according to the MLB prospect rankings, he is the 17th ranked prospect currently.
Yeah, that's the goal, right? Get him to number one.
And I mean, two people who are ahead of him in the top 5, they're already at the major league level. So
yeah, I think if you look at like 18 and under, he's number 1. I believe is what it was at the end of last year.
Yeah. Oh my God, the kid is so young.
Born in 2006.
Yep.
But yeah, so there's some cool stuff to look out for with the team. I'm just really excited to have baseball back mostly. The Japan series will be fun if I remember to watch it.
I'll be there. I mean, not at the game, but I'll be there when the series is happening.
Another goofy question in this world.
Yeah.
Do the Rangers see a massive uptick in support this year thanks to the Dallas Mavericks and then the continued dismal Dallas Cowboys?
I would hope so, man.
But I mean, for the Cowboys,
if they're good in July,
Mavericks, obviously they've just done something quite offensive.
If they're good in July, it'll pick up in August and September for sure.
Yeah.
It's already just up in general just because of the air conditioning. But I don't think I don't think March through July are going to look especially full except for opening day.
I hope that at least the local media starts making it out to be like the Rangers or the Darlings now.
They got a lot of theme nights this year, though.
Oh, well, we'll go get a bunch of free shit eventually. I'll try to get to some games this season. It depends on how good they are. They might.
Well, when you sign up for the Victory Plus, you get you get a free 2 tickets. So
I do want to do that
to any like non-Yankee Monday through Thursday game. I think is what it is.
It's cool. I don't care about seeing.
Of course, no.
Yeah, man. I was trying to think of what you.
I don't like watching the Yankees either because like I don't follow baseball like that, and like y'all don't put y'all's names on the jerseys, and it's annoying.
They're good now.
Yeah,
there was a couple years there where they weren't good. Now they're actually like legit good again. So
I'm glad
it's fun to watch.
Allow people to have facial hair and whatnot.
Oh,
finally!
All right, this one might interest you, Bethke. Elvis night, June 28th. Elvis Andrus.
He's getting elected into the Rangers Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, I love Elvis Andrus. He might be. It's hard. It fluctuates, but yeah, I have probably the softest spot. It's probably the most ridiculous because I know he's not as good as the memory hero.
I mean,
that I have.
there were a few years there where he was. If at least in the conversation for the best defensive shortstop in baseball. He was so good.
All right. This one might interest you as well, Beth.
I thought you
Jake
said
Berger,
night with the
Whataburger jersey.
No, everybody's gonna do that, and I don't really like Whataburger like that.
The Mando Kumar bobblehead for May the 4th. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is really funny because he's not even on the main. He's not up with the main team yet, is he?
I think Rocker. I think he will be most likely.
He'll be somewhere.
There's a Glizzy hat night. It just says Glizzy in the Texas Rangers new script.
Jesus.
I like the Power Rangers night. I'll probably go to that.
Oh, Power Rangers night. Okay.
You can get a red or a blue.
There's a True Brand day.
Seager or Marcus Semien jerseys. Nice. There's some cool stuff. They have the replica rings this year are like supposed to be mimic the reversibles part. They're a little different. Yeah. But the
ringers can be different.
They're just selling the rings from the year before is also kind of a funny bit. Forget about last year. Here you go, Caesar. The AEW wrestling night. You can get a fanny pack that looks like a belt.
I'm okay on the fanny pack. I will be trying to go to that AEW night. I saw the
team ones. I didn't like the team ones again because they did the Peagle, and I just don't want that. I don't want to Peagle anything.
Anyways, nothing too out of this world happening with the team. I think they're going to be good. Obviously, health is the most important, but they only have one team that I even consider to be worried. Well, I shouldn't crap on Seattle that hard, but I'm mostly only worried about Houston.
Also, may still be able to pull off a trade for a guy, right? I think they're still trying to get
anyone can make a trade still. There's plenty of time. That'll pretty much wrap up what we got for baseball right now. And then this will be a little soft launch into what Bethke's got for us.
Quite a bit of hoopity hoops now.
Hoops.
Well, we're gonna have to start with solemn news here. We're not doing a lot of timely. We're doing very little timely news here. Two parts timely, 2 parts old and stale. But they're important things to discuss, so we're gonna do it anyway. Starting with the San Antonio Spurs. We were looking at a team that was kind of on the playoff bubble. You're looking at a big trade in De'Aaron Fox. So it kind of felt like, hey, if the West is a bunch of average teams, this could easily be the top 10, even better seeding.
Castle was showing out at the dunk contest. Wemby and CP3 were Kobayashi and Maruing the skills challenge.
Trust me, we have plenty of extra Spurs content later on. But for now, yes, everything looked very hunky-dory in Spurs land. And then it was back-to-back slugs to the chest. So the Mavs fans got it a couple weeks ago, and it was turn the gun on the Spurs time. Not as bad, but still.
You took a cannon, turned it into like a BB gun, maybe. Or
well, I would still say it's tough because obviously we're discussing a very scary situation, even if potentially it's fine, ultimately long term, and a very unfortunate ending to a Hall of Fame career, most likely. Potentially.
We don't know.
I would say most likely, but yeah, we'll get it. So we'll start with Wemby. Yeah. Wemby has blood clots. If you have everything specific, you can read it off. He has a blood clot issue. It's in his shoulder blade, right? And that's no good. Going to need thinners to handle that kind of business. I don't believe you're allowed to play basketball with that.
No.
I believe that's a very dangerous mix, and that's why we do a lot of the heart testing we do. Chris Bosh had this. Brandon Ingram had this. Those are the ends of the spectrum.
They're different.
The ends of the spectrum.
They're very different things, yeah.
But as far as sports fans know, this is our relationship of blood clots and negatively affecting athletes. The worst case scenario being Chris Bosh, and best case scenario being Brandon Ingram. Because he did suffer in a similar situation.
There's some other guy everyone was talking about who I've never heard of that's in the NBA right now who had the same thing, like Tossin something or.
Actually, was it Christian Coloco?
Answar or something.
Because Christian Coloco signed up with the Lakers earlier in this season, and he had a health issue that had taken him out of basketball. Doesn't say. Why doesn't it
One
say?
second. I'll look
Christian
it up.
Coloco.
Anyway, blood clot. Yeah, it was Christian Coloco, blood clot. There you go. Threatened his career. So again,
Osar
we've seen a couple
Townsend.
of these things.
Yeah, there you go.
Thompson.
Asar.
Oh,
AUSAR.
Asar also had it. So there you go. Yeah, you're right. He did have a slow start because he's the Pistons guy. He's a little bit. His brother's a little bit better, but they're both really talented.
Yeah, so obviously, I was selfishly when I got
So
this
there's
news.
4 cases of the NBA, and 3 of them are very positive. One of them is an extreme one that is honestly at this point looking to be the outlier because we've already seen 3 different cases.
And
where guys
again,
have gotten back.
I think Oswar and Brandon Ingram both had
It's
DVTs.
Asar, by the way.
What's it? What is it?
Asar.
Asar. Sorry, there's a U in there that's confusing me. I keep thinking it's like dinosaur. I guess it is. Anyways, I think both of them had DVTs, right? Whereas Chris Bosh's is like a whole other condition.
Yeah.
Anyways,
It's much worse.
I was obviously selfishly upset because I was sitting there. We got that news Thursday afternoon, I guess, and I was less than 36 hours away from seeing him play again in Austin. Still went to that game. It was fun, but a little disappointing.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's just a very deflating thing. But you got De'Aaron Fox that night, right?
He was there, yeah. He played.
Yeah. That's nice. At least you got to see the new second in command, potentially third in command. See how they do in the draft.
And it was cool to
free
see
agency.
Moody and all that, but
yeah, and then get to see the new arena. Is it built for basketball / volleyball? Do you feel that, or even does it feel a little more intimate?
it definitely felt more like an NBA basketball feel than
It felt big.
the Frank Irwin Center did.
Okay, I never went into
I
Frank
just mean
Irwin
maybe in the
before,
modernity of how it looks. I don't
Yeah.
know. But also, every time I was at Frank Irwin Center, I was playing in the band, so I was like right up on top of shit. So I'm not really sure what the. I think I saw Radiohead there once, but I don't really remember a whole lot of that.
as one does. Yeah, so that's the news on Wemby. He's done for the season. Most likely not something that will linger into the next season, but I guess that's to be determined.
Yeah, it's kind of.
And
We'll
with
just
the
be
Spurs,
holding our breath for the next 15 years potentially.
maybe, yeah. When it comes to the Spurs, man, they're probably going to be coy about this. I would hope that they'll at least update people at some point in the off season, but I don't even know if they'll do that.
I mean, at some point, someone will see him playing basketball if he's playing basketball again, and that'll be a sign that.
Well, but is it working out or is it playing 5? That's really the full court 5. That's the difference. Because if they take a picture of him dribbling around and shooting, I'm gonna be like, well, okay, well, I do that too.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if I don't even know if you're allowed to do that if it's as bad as it could be.
Yeah. I think. Well, I mean, he may have an issue. I don't know what it's impacting the shoulder exactly. If there's something impacting that, then obviously he can't shoot necessarily, or I'd probably not be a good idea to shoot. But otherwise, I mean, if he needs to get out there and do something. It's like you have to understand. Telling those guys to just not pick up a basketball for a while is kind of
that's where we got a bunch of cool stories from the pandemic of guys like having to buy their teammates baskets for their house.
Yeah, exactly. Like those guys got to do it. Like that. It's not even just about the training. Like their brain is almost trained.
I saw a clip of someone talking about like him and his dad during COVID were like, I think he was still in high school, and they're like driving up to like neighborhood schools and like jumping fences to get to go play and stuff. I can't remember who it was. Anyways,
I basically was doing that for a while. Not hopping.
Well, why
fences,
aren't you in the
there's a lot
NBA
of
then?
There's many reasons for that. My fiance the other day went out when I was hooping, and she was like, I was trying to get the ball, it got stuck, and I just couldn't quite reach it the second time I jumped. And she was like, "You got it," and I'm like, "No, I don't. I just got the other ball." And I was like, "No, you don't understand. Even if I would have been a D1 athlete, I'm still playing below the rim. This is the curse. This is the lifestyle."
Like an 8-year-old me trying to pretend like I'm Tim Duncan when I'm like 2'2".
Good. Trying to. I love all the.
I got
white
all the
boys.
footwork for the post, but none of the body, none of the height.
All the white boys in Dallas tried to learn the Dirk fadeaway, but they forgot
At
the
least-
fact that you got to get the Dirk fadeaway. You got to be big enough to get the Dirk fadeaway off because people could just
Yeah,
Smack that thing right out of your
Get outta
face.
here.
that's why I'm on you to save my life.
Middle school, I just remember I was like, "Hey, yo, I'm gonna post the big guy up. Like whoever was bigger than me, like I'm gonna post him up. I'm gonna post him up." And then I would quickly realize as soon as I went to turn, I'm like, "Yeah, nah." I would look up the arms. I'm like, "Man, I'm 5'3". There's no way." Pass the ball back out. I'm like, "That was the story of my life." Anytime there's a pickup game.
You gotta be careful going into the paint. But yeah, so moving back into the Spurs here, Greg Popovich. This is the other side because that's basically all we can talk about with Wemby. We just don't know. He's not playing the rest of the season. Capture the flag. Officially, the Spurs are kind of in on that.
Well, yeah, the only way we'd probably get him though is if it's with someone else's picks, right? Not our own.
Atlanta is actually, unfortunately, not going to be as bad as y'all wanted because the East sucks and they're already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, something like that. And probably have the ability to climb because the Magic, for some reason, have just fallen off the face of the earth. Yeah, the East isn't a funny conference. We'll probably break down conferences and awards and stuff next week when we have less to cover. But yeah, so Pop is the next subject here. It does not look like he's going to coach again this season. Or
That's confirmed.
Yeah, that is confirmed.
Yeah.
So there's no potential for him to even see. This is where I'm starting to wonder. Are they going to just let him go off quietly with a press conference if he decides in the offseason? Or is there enough time between now and the end of the season for him to understand his medical situation and his comfort level with returning? And then potentially, look, I already looked at the schedule. You guys are going to be on the road a lot, but the last game is against Toronto in Frost. It would make sense for him to just ceremonially just go out there, do it for the one time.
I would assume if they were going to do that, it would be opening night next season.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I guess it's just whatever he wants to do. But
yeah, obviously,
it feels like it would be easy. But you have to move on to the new coach, right? And I'm pretty sure you already have him. I'm pretty sure that's who they want.
You think they're going to stick with Mitch?
I think that, but I don't know that because they have Victor Wembanyama. So they're also, as much as they're the Spurs, they're also now, one of the more interesting things, they're the Spurs with not Tim Duncan, who was a great player, who was a number 1 overall pick, but wasn't exactly considered to be the revolutionary face of basketball moving forward when he was drafted.
You mean the NBA wasn't trying to market the big fundamental?
Yeah, I mean, it just it's funny because, like I said, Tim Duncan meets the quality. It's the Isaiah Thomas. I met all.
He'd be killing it now. People be watching his StarCraft streams all night.
That's true too. Yeah, you really could market him in a different way. But yeah, so look, Wemby there's a lot of pressure that comes with Wemby. He's probably, if this blood clot issue obviously is fine, if all the other issues that people fear that he could potentially have at 7'5" is fine, then you have a player that could potentially put you in a title status and running very quickly.
Yeah.
So Mitch Johnson, no offense, but it just may not be. They may not have the room for patience.
Well, clearly, they should hire someone like Jason Kidd, who's good at managing star players.
Well, look, we're gonna get to Jason Kidd because he definitely had some important stuff happen to him this week. But before we get to that, I do want to pose the question I think is interesting. Does Chris Paul end up actually in the buyout market now? It did not look like he would at all prior, but now I think that makes a lot more sense if there is a fit. I don't know that there is a perfect team either, especially because you'd probably want to go back to Los Angeles, and both of those teams I think are fine with their well, obviously the Lakers wouldn't have any use for him.
You could just have him run the B team, dude.
Well, but the Lakers are already at a surplus of ball handling, lackadaisical defensive players right now, okay? They don't need more of that. And Chris Paul is a hell of a defensive player, but he's still small. So it just doesn't quite fix their problem. I don't know. Maybe he does. Maybe the Clippers do have a space for him and he fits there, but they just signed Ben Simmons, and I think they probably want to take the chance of Ben Simmons' career revival because they'll need it. They don't have draft picks and shit.
Here's Air Alamo's top 3 places for Chris Paul to end up. Number 3, Boston Celtics.
Yeah, but I don't know that the Celtics fit is necessary. I think Chris would want to contribute to a team for sure.
Number
and I
2,
don't know that he would there.
Denver Nuggets.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, yeah, anybody next to Nikola is going to be fine.
And then number 1, Clippers.
Yeah, and I mean that's just because he's their French 1A, 1B, maybe 1C. I don't know. Actually, I would love to. I would say Kawhi is number 1 to most of the fans because he probably was the best Clipper ever at his best. But it just, he got hurt right before they went to the Western Conference Finals that year.
Yeah.
But that's the highest they've ever been. That's the furthest in the playoffs they've ever been.
Yeah.
So I would say it's probably Kawhi still. But Blake is probably 2nd and CP is probably 3rd, or those two would be flipped.
Chris Kaman.
That's the true ghoulish Clipper fan would be like, no, the Chris Kaman era. That was honestly probably the first franchise player I think I remember the Clippers having since I've been watching basketball.
Oh, here, this Reddit 100%. Comment says V's Diviano is the greatest in Clippers history.
Who?
Well,
the one who recorded Roger Sterling.
That's the thing. Yes. But also, that's the fun. Yeah, I mean, technically the franchise is immensely better. The NBA is better, but are they any closer? I don't think so.
I mean, you said they got close as far as they've ever gotten.
They did get closer. They did technically get closer. You're right. They did. All right, so fair enough. All right.
We're laughing at them a lot less. I'll say that.
Well,
100%.
They're quietly, a solid team this year, but I think again everyone just looks at their roster and they're like, all right,
it will fall apart.
Like it just, we'll see. Maybe the Clippers surprise, but I doubt it this year. So moving into the other Los Angeles team that played in Los Angeles last night against the Dallas Mavericks, the local Dallas Mavericks, there was notable player changes from the last time these two teams faced off. There's a big purple 77 on the other side, and there's a vacated number 3 jersey on the other side at the moment. But he was wearing a furry coat, and he looked kind of cool and whatnot. Anthony Davis might be a furry, but he was just having a furry coat on at this point. We don't know if those two things are connected. But last night wasn't the craziest thing in the world. Luka had a very modest performance.
That's actually why they call them street clothes, but they can't tell you why.
Luka had a very modest game. Jason Kidd, to his credit, decided that, look, we have one shot at winning this game, and it's shooting well at the 3-point line, and if we don't do it enough, we won't win. And they did actually pretty close to the end and almost pulled off a victory, but eventually it just wasn't enough. They threw a lot of stuff at Luka. They threw the box and one at Luka at one point. This doesn't work. They even actually got to.
It's funny because they know it doesn't work because teams tried it to them when they had Luka.
Right, but here again, Jason Kidd didn't do that because he's a fucking idiot. He did that because essentially, and I do agree,
because his boss was in the crowd staring at him.
Well, no, I think you knew last night was a lot about let's not have Luka completely embarrass us on isolation plays. And also, this Lakers team is not that deep. This team is not that good. They just got together. And if the Mavericks had size on their hands, I think they could have easily won that game last night. It was not a game that the Lakers showed me. The Lakers are going to be fun to watch, but it's going to be a dumbed down version of the Cavs team with Kyrie and LeBron because they're not fully formed yet. There's far more roster movement that needs to be done to make this a contender truly. But one-on-one, those two guys can fuck you up on any given night. And that's going to remain the case. And maybe that's going to get them farther in the playoffs than maybe it should. but this team is fundamentally small, and they're not good enough consistently shooting the three to make me feel like they can play small ball enough to win the title small ball wise. And they have to do it that way. That's the only way. They have to be an incredible small ball team to win. I think with Anthony Davis, with Daniel Gafford, with Derek Lively, even with having Caleb Martin, you would have an immense size difference on the Lakers. And even with Luka and LeBron going nuts, you probably would have a good shot. They also have a lot of iffy defenders. You know, it's not a perfect team. I think the Lakers will eventually have to put Austin Reeves off the bench and add another defender to the starting group, but we'll see how it goes. Last night was fun. It was a lot of emotions for people. There was the fake screenshot that of Luka staring down Nico, but Luka obviously was feeling away. He got a fuck you 3 that was rescinded, unfortunately. Had a toe on the line, just a little bit of the shoe on the line, but that got rescinded. What else? Kyrie Irving was fucking amazing. He shaved his face and then cleaned up his head, and he somehow looked 10 years older, but then was playing 10 years younger. It was amazing.
Luka did one of the most incredible no-look behind the back pass things I've ever seen. Was it to Reeves for a 3?
Luka did that, and then honestly, that was so annoying because all the Mavs fans were just bitching about how they didn't get coverage, and I'm like, guys, can you get some perspective here? Yes, every one of Luka's viral passes continued to go viral when he was wearing the blue jersey too.
I mean, just
promise
not,
you.
but not as much as they're going now. The even smaller stuff's going to go. Yeah,
sure, yes, because it's a Los Angeles Laker brand. Yes, it's going to be bigger, but it wasn't going unnoticed. It wasn't like people were like, "Oh my god, did you know this guy can pass?"
I mean, I don't know. I've heard some clips from Locked On Lakers where they sound like what Mavs fans sounded like when Luka first got here. Of like, I'd heard, but I didn't realize.
And that's a curse of fandom, right? You can always tell who doesn't watch the rest of the league pretty quickly whenever they start talking about another team.
I liked the one clip. I should have grabbed it where he moves underneath the basket, kind of into the paint. All 5 Mav defenders crash on him.
Oh yeah, they knew. I mean, they were just going to mug it. They were just going to, and he was very arrogant to start with his decision making. He was still sort of probing the lane more than he needed to, forcing things more than he needed to. But he settled down.
I mean,
he had a triple double by halftime.
I was gonna say, like, he didn't have what you would call a great game, but he got a triple double.
No, and of course he does physically look a lot better. He played very well.
He did push-ups before the game on the court while Nico was down there. He
played very well defensively to start the game. There's still some improvement for consistency.
I mean, and the same thing I would have said with him on the Mavs was like, he never got to play with a team that could play team defense where he could just like focus on it.
Long. Yeah, they just built it. They had just built it basically, and then they dismantled it basically.
And so now he's back on a team where he's being asked to do way too much.
They're not too bad because they do have Dorian Finney-Smith. If Jared Vanderbilt can hit threes, that's a big deal. Maybe Maxi Kleber gets healthy and adds another bit of size to their rotation. But yeah, it's Jackson Hayes being on the court is just not a plan for success. So yeah, the game was really fun. Klay Thompson went nuts for a while. He almost single-handedly beat the Lakers in the fourth quarter. Yeah, I mean, look, it was fun, but I think there's a lot of story to still be led on these two teams this season. I think the Lakers are an interesting group, but I see a lot of decisions that JJ Redick's going to have to make, and I just don't think there's enough time without the biggest piece for them to win a title this year, but who knows? They might still make the finals. And for the Mavericks, I'm still kind of stubborn pro Mavericks. I still think the Luka trade was a bad call. I still think it's fair for all the negatives, and I think they've handled it like shit. But when I take away the Mavericks side of it, when I take away the Luka side of it, and I just look at this team as a basketball team, if they are healthy, and I understand they've been hurt
that's the biggest
a lot. Well, they've been hurt a lot this season. It's been a bad season for injuries, and I know Anthony Davis's reputation, so I understand that stuff. But I do also see the point of view where this is a very big team. It's got a lot of talent. It's got a lot of defensive players, and honestly, I think Jason Kidd had something to do with it because this team looks like what Jason Kidd.
Well, he's
wants a
also been an
basketball team to
Anthony
look
Davis guy. It's just confusing because everyone there was brought in for Luka, so it is odd that they're kind of branching. But I would also say that you could also,
I mean, J Kidd was a
before the
Maverick
trade,
before Luka.
before the trade, you could have also said if the Mavs are healthy, they're
but here's my thing: you underestimate arrogance. Nico Harrison's arrogance is fine, but guess what? Jason Kidd was one of the first great Dallas Mavericks ever. Jason Kidd won a title with the Dallas Mavericks. If Jason Kidd wins a title as a head coach of the Dallas Mavericks, he wins this argument forever. And I'm not saying
doesn't. No fan thinks that though.
But guess what? He doesn't care what the fan thinks. That's not what the ego's about, Patrick. Who does he care about? His opinion, how he looks at the situation. And if he wins that, he is going to feel like the most Dallas Maverick after Dirk ever. And that's maybe a point of ego pride to him because I think for Jason Kidd, he's not a perfect person.
You think
Lord
the Mavs
knows,
matter that much to him?
I think his pride matters to him that much. And I think Jason Kidd's identity as an NBA player was marred by the fact that the Dallas stuff went under in a bad way. And then the Phoenix stuff went bad in a worse way, right? That's where the DV charge came out. And then you rebound and you save your career in New Jersey. And then, that was an awesome thing. You basically put a Hall of Fame resume together there. And then you go to the Mavericks and, you handle business where it all started, right? So, I do think there's a part of his identity that he may want to make the Dallas Mavericks his identity as much as it is Dirk's. And I know that sounds crazy for people, but this is the ego of these guys. This is what drives these guys. And Jason Kidd is a Hall of Famer. Jason Kidd at one point in his career could have been one of the 15, 20 best players of all time. And a lot of bullshit to start his career fucked it up. So I just think you have to have that perspective. I think we understand how crazy it is to move Luka, but he himself believes he is above Luka. And that technically, historically, he is still above Luka. He has accomplished more than Luka. Even if Luka's already been a better player, obviously, but he has accomplished more than Luka as a basketball player. So you get where the arrogance comes in. And like I said, now that I see this team play, now that I kind of feel how this roster and understand what it looks like.
They actually have the same amount of all NBA first teams.
Oh, the same now? Well, yeah, that's
No, they're not even taking a hold for long.
Jason Kidd did good though. He got him out of one of them, right? So Luka's got at least one L on his resume, but he'll probably have all NBAs the rest of them, or two, because he didn't get one as a rookie either. So two non all NBA seasons for Luka is probably all you're going to get in his career. So yeah, obviously Luka's going to, I assume, is going to finish better. But I understand where the arrogance thing comes, and I think it's true that Luka was very arrogant and whatnot, but I think it's even just as true that Nico Harrison's arrogant as fuck and that Jason Kidd's arrogant as fuck, and that's the result.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, they don't want to say that they're too egotistical to make it work, but it's felt like that's the situation.
No
greatest player hasn't even won a title at his age yet. You know,
No, it feels.
He carried I heard this stat. I had to look it up to verify. The 2022 Mavs Western Conference Finals team that had Reggie Bullock averaging 39 minutes in the playoffs.
Yeah. No, that's a great one to pull up. Now, that was a little fluky, but yeah, I mean, he did. That was a lot.
Well, that's what he like. He's so good that he puts you in that position too.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, absolutely.
Get a little bit of puck luck, if you will.
That was a lot of Luka and Jalen Brunson, obviously. But
another great decision from.
Yeah, but an arrogant one though, right? Because you're like, oh, that guard's too small. He's not consistent enough. And I did agree there was redundancies with Brunson, and I thought they should have moved him. But obviously, you trade him, you don't let him walk. Anyway,
you don't give him the opportunity on his rookie contract to not get that fifth year to where he could just go and
exactly. There was so much poor handling of that. So yeah,
good job, Mark Cuban.
It was a fun first game back. Mark Cuban got to shake hands and kiss babies with the Doncic family, so I guess it's all good there.
I swear I didn't do it.
Mark has done a lot of good PR subtly to try to make him not look like the guilty party.
Yeah.
But yeah, so look, we're gonna get I think I'm excited for the next chapter in this one. I want to see Anthony Davis on the court for it. I think it'll be fun. It'll be great because it'll be in Dallas. And then honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if these two teams find a way to play again in the playoffs. I do think that highly of what this Dallas Mavericks team can accomplish. And it's also worth noting that Kevin Durant is almost certainly going to be traded at the end of the season. Brian Windhorst already went on ESPN and basically said it. There was someone else that also backed that up. So it looks like that's reality. It looks very likely that the Mavericks and the Rockets. Actually, all three Texas teams will probably be in the running for Kevin Durant's services, I would imagine.
Well, I think I don't know that the Mavs have anything to get him.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would be the Laker,
but
pick
I don't
you
think
just
the
got.
Spurs.
It would be, yeah,
I don't think it's worth paying him, but maybe.
I think you would win the trade if the trades aren't that great.
If you win a title immediately.
Well, yeah, obviously that, but I meant you win the trade as far as win the bidding for the trade. If Houston doesn't go full max offer, if teams get stingy with it because of Durant's age, I think that's where maybe the Mavericks.
Because he's still on like some kind of max or near max, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean he's getting paid the big bucks, so you got to take in a lot of money to get him on your roster.
No thanks, I love you, bud.
But there's also a Kyrie Irving free agency angle of this.
I wanted to
make it work.
When I was at Moody, I was thinking they'd probably be selling Durant jerseys, but they have like a Texas 35, but it says Spurs where his name should be, so I didn't buy it. I don't know, man. Maybe they can't license his jersey for the Spurs. And
well, I mean, I could get that, but why would they put the Spurs on the back? Well, just put horns.
It's the ATX series or something. I don't know.
That was weird. Okay. Yeah, that's strange. I mean, I'm sure there is some stupid rule that's keeping them from doing the normal stuff, but like that doesn't feel like the answer. All right. Moving into new business. We do have another new topic to talk about. Diana Taurasi is officially retired. Quietly into the night, Diana Taurasi, same way Candace Parker retired a couple years ago. Or a year ago, actually. This one, she is the lady goat. She is probably one of the funniest people. We started off, and I don't know that she's intentionally funny. She just is one of those people who's going to say what's on top of their mind, no matter what. And as a result, usually the rest of us find it fairly funny, even if it's pretty fucked up in some ways. Some of the things that she's going to be known for: WNBA all-time scorer, all-time three-point makes, and all-time technical fouls. Those are important numbers. Second in games played, fourth in assists, 11-time All-Star, 3-time champion, 1-time MVP. I will try to get a video highlights of all the goofy things that DT has said or done. There are so many though that actually could be difficult, and is also a big part of why I didn't have it ready for us already. I did bring a couple of pictures to share with the class because I thought they were fun. This is usually, I think, most people's favorite picture of Diana Taurasi. This is just the past Olympics where she did this on purpose. Absolutely did this on purpose. Had a great time. DT was basically just a vibe captain for the last Olympic team. She played a little bit, and like some of the games didn't matter as much, but they kind of went ahead and had her take the big games off. Until they were blowouts. But yeah, this is China, I believe, or Japan. I can't remember. And yeah, she's just big.
That's real dickhead behavior, and I love this picture.
That is her. That is her to a T. There's also another time where she got so mad that she took a door off the hinges.
All right.
Kicked it into the door. That one's good. There's some other clips, like I said, where there was a time where she was Sue Bird was doing a college basketball like Manning cast and had Diana on, and she goes, she started making jokes about how it's a game of inches and how the Cox know that. So they're obviously watching South Carolina and there was just a lot of inappropriate jokes. And then I don't know if Sue Bird's hosted another one of those again after. I don't know. I haven't followed up. But yeah, that was pretty much it with that one. I will have a video for it. The last few years, Diana Taurasi hasn't really been the same level of player. The Phoenix Mercury have sort of leveled off as her and Brittany Griner have gone into the back end of their career. Now they're both gone. Former Dallas Wing Satu Sabali is going there. Alyssa Thomas just got traded there, I believe, was how they acquired her. So that'll be fun. There's a new chapter in the Mercury. One of the only teams that I think has been around the W since start to finish. And yeah, so we will. I mean, it was unfortunate she didn't want to do a victory lap, kind of thing, the farewell tour, but it kind of fits her personality. So nothing too surprising there. Now we move into the terrorism business. So the NBA All-Star Weekend happened a week and a half ago, right? Wasn't awesome.
Yep.
We've got some stuff to talk about. Some of it was fine. There's some fine stuff. As always, the celebrity game really never disappoints because how could it? If you're going to tune in for the celebrity game, you know what you're tuning in for. I think my only argument with the celebrity game is, no offense to those people, we don't need 4 quarters. I think we could cut that down.
Maybe make it a smaller court, a half court.
I don't know if we need to do. I actually love watching them run up and down the court. That's a big part of why I watch. Actually, But
there are guys in the NBA who can't dribble baseline to baseline, let alone.
Look, we have a very fun product when it comes to.
Do they play on 10-foot? 10-foot
Oh
rims?
yeah, they play on the same thing. They play on the regular court.
I've seen it before. I just don't remember. I remember Bieber being out there, the guy from the Arcade Fire.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. You're right, Arcade Fire, because of JJ Redick is his best friend. Jerry Rice versus Barry Bonds were the teams, so it was very San Francisco themed. I will say, if there's one good thing about how the NBA does All-Star, at least they do a good job of making every attempt to tie it into the local city they can. There was a lot of fun stuff done in this regard, at least.
Where was the Pride game? So it was San Francisco, right?
Oh, right.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I don't think they were that. I don't think the NBA has to be that overt because they just already are in that circle so much. They don't.
Yeah,
I don't think there is much of a. I don't think the NBA feels the need to go out on a limb for that kind of stuff.
They don't need people reposting the Tim Hardaway video at their on all their accounts.
Actually, Tim Hardaway gets that video posted a lot now. I know you're not on Twitter anymore or as much, but yeah, he gets, because he's been popping off a lot at Luka and people, and
Tyrese Halliburton or whatever.
Halliburton every time.
And then oh man, I should have brought that story. I don't know if you followed up on that at all, what Tyrese Halliburton said about it.
Did someone actually get a quote? Because I did not get a quote.
You keep going, I'll get there.
So the All-Star game was fun. The celebrity game was fun. Rickea Jackson, really talented WNBA player. It was funny. She talked a lot of shit about how she doesn't watch the NBA, and then showed up to get the bag for celebrity game, and then ended up just having fun. I mean, if I was a WNBA player and I got forced to play in the celebrity game, I would mix up every celebrity. I would not go easy at all. I would be cooking all of those dudes and ladies, all of them. But of course, the MVP game reaction was probably the best part. I don't know who won the MVP. I'm not really sure who this actor is, but
what's their name?
It's some actor. He's in a lot of Tyler Perry stuff, I'm being honest. But I think you need to watch one of the other celebrities.
Rome Flynn.
Yeah. I think you need to watch one of the other celebrities in this and see. It looks here like Drewski thought he was going to come away with it, but damn.
Oh, he does not look happy about that either.
That is great.
He does not look happy about that.
He could also just be doing it as part of the whole shtick.
No, that was a bit.
You know?
I'm sorry. So you're not familiar with Drewski?
I'm not familiar with Drewski, right?
I highly recommend Drewski. I couldn't think. I truly think this man should be given an award as a sociologist. The way he captures all the different aspects of stereotypes of culture, of American culture, of Black culture, any culture, like the way that he masters, embodies characters is actually a fucking amazing, dude. Like, and that's why he looks so believably mad. So that's just typically what Drewski does. He's typically just sort of being a stereotype of what it's like to be a young man, you know, just being very arrogant, being like, oh, you know, all into all the fads and stuff. And that clip, he's just goofing around. I think he scored 2 points in the game.
Okay. I'll interject now with our Tyrese Halliburton update. So for anyone unfamiliar, Tim Hardaway Sr. was on was it Shannon's show maybe? I don't know.
No, I think it was the Gilbert Arenas one that keeps posting.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It was Gilbert.
The one that comes out with just shit take after shit take.
And Tim Hardaway Sr. said, if I go back and suit up, I want to fuck up Tyrese Halliburton. He talks so much shit. I want to go back and bust his motherfucking ass. He think he all that. And then Tyrese Halliburton
so much?
Tyrese Halliburton retweeted that quote on Twitter and said, tell the world the real reason you feel this way, Tim.
No, I saw that.
Which leads people down this road where allegedly Eddie Jones, former NBA player, cousin of Tyrese Halliburton, had an affair with Tim Hardaway Sr.'s wife.
Wait, what, repeat that last part? With the wife?
Eddie Jones, cousin of Tyrese Halliburton, allegedly had an affair with Tim Hardaway Sr.'s wife when they were teammates, which caused one of them to be sent away from Miami.
That's why Eddie Jones got traded?
It's the rumor mill.
No way. Dude, that's actually crazy because Eddie Jones's career is weird. Yeah, he played for the Mavs for a little bit.
Yeah, damn, that's crazy. Okay. I love when the NBA gets spicy.
Oh, that was the end of his career, maybe. When did Hardaway retire? I don't know if those timelines match up.
Maybe not, but either way.
Let's just go with the rumor mill because...
Oh, either way, we're going to transition into talking about Tim Hardaway because he was a coach in one of the events. Because they kept it that San Francisco Bay Area. I mean, you got to do it, right? So... yeah, they were never in Miami at the same time.
Yeah, they were. 2000.
Oh, so he got dealt to Dallas.
Yeah.
There it is. I see. Okay. There you go. I mean, there it is. All right. Potentially. Yeah, they both played for the Mavericks. All right. Okay. Rising Stars Tournament. We're going to quickly get through this because it's really not anything we need to talk about in depth. However, I do feel like there's commentary that needs to be had here. Because this is truly some of the sickest sicko basketball you could ever watch, right? You got Tim Hardaway Sr. coaching a team, Mitch Richmond.
I've been to an AAU tournament, so...
Chris Mullin, and then you have Team G League, who's coached by Jeremy Lin. So... these teams are mostly young players, right? This is our Rising Stars. It's usually rookie, sophomore, right? It's replaced the rookie, sophomore game, which it never should have, but it's where we are. The teams were fine. It was funny, but Team G League is crazy because these are not guys like Reed Shepherd could be an NBA player. He's young, so no diss on him. Bryce McGowan's likely not. JD Davidson definitely not. Leonard Miller likely not. Dink Pate, I forget how to pronounce his last name. Not really. Pat Spencer is barely catching on just now. And Mac McClung, pretty much everybody knows Mac, and we'll talk more about him in a later. That's a crazy team to be lining out. The fact that they actually made it to the final game of this little, mini tournament they did for every little challenge was also pretty unfortunate I can't remember which team they ended up beating, but just a very lazy thing. And I don't know that this is bad, but I definitely don't need the G League guys.
I wouldn't mind if they brought in some guys who play overseas for this little bit.
Yeah, honestly, if we're gonna do it, if
just
we
see
really
some kind of different style of basketball, maybe.
I really didn't hate it. It's for the sickos. You're not expecting people to tune in on general audiences, so I'm fine with that. We're not competing for eyeballs on this one. but I don't need the Team G League. And even though I respect that they got and made it to the next game, Stephon Castle won MVP of the Rising Stars Challenge.
Of course he did.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't need it. I like having the 3 teams of young people. You're right. Let's bring in Real Madrid. Let's bring in Panathinaikos or whatever the fuck, the Greek one. Let's bring those
whatever
teams
team
in.
Jeremy Lin is actively playing on right now.
I think Jeremy retired.
I thought he was playing
He might be in China getting that bag, but that's
the overseas game. But
I don't think he's playing anymore because I think he's
for the
36
Taipei
now.
Kings.
Yeah, in China. Okay. Or wait, yeah, that's Taipei.
Taiwan Professional Basketball League.
Taiwan. Okay. So look, no
he
offense.
is Taiwanese, so
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's more of a retirement gig.
he's
I
been
love
there
that.
for 3 years. Damn.
Be a hooper. Yeah, his last NBA team was the Championship Raptors, I think, right?
Yep. And then Beijing, then 1 year in the G League, I guess.
Yeah, he did do a G League thing, but again, that was more just
Promoting the G League.
He's also just a very popular player, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Internationally. Skills challenge. Usually not much to say about the skills challenge other than I don't really love some of the way that they've changed the stuff. I really used to love the skills challenge a lot. It used to be my favorite part. It's fine. And I'm not saying that this ruined it by any means. If anything, this was quite hilarious and enjoyable.
No, I mean, they said your contest is effing stupid, and here's why.
But that's why it's also kind of fuck Chris Paul for this. And I'm sure
all reports say Wemby.
All right, well,
Wemby
also,
came up with this.
Wemby, I love you, but you need to understand something. This is just disrespectful, bro. Come on now. If you don't want to do it, just tell me you don't want to do it.
They asked officials if this would be okay,
and
they were told yes at every door.
The officials were stupid, but just because bureaucracy fails doesn't give you an excuse to bastardize the sport you allegedly love. Okay,
I think civil disobedience is great, and I think people should continue to exhibit it.
That's true, but
Yes.
you're also an ambassador of a game you allegedly love a lot. And if
This isn't that game.
But it's a skills challenge. You're showing kids that you're skilled. You're showing you know what I mean? I don't understand why
He
people
does that
go,
every time he hits.
This year, here we go. 1, there's 2, there's 3. What's the start? That's the start that each team is going to want. Oh, he's not even worried about this shot. They're just going for time. Look at this. This is a unique strategy. It's all about the bounce, the passes. They're not even worried about this.
This has Chris Paul's fingerprints all over it.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. See, there's some thinking that went into this.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Yes. Now, I wonder if everyone is going to adopt this.
Wait a minute. The crowd is unsettled.
Yes.
The rules are being shot to the
That's
very
right.
brink.
That's right. They have manipulated the rules.
They indeed have.
And look at the time. Look at the time. It's all about the bounce.
Oh, there's some booze.
A lot of booze.
That's some real scumbaggery there, and it's great.
No, honestly, I
No,
love
that's
how
what
I love how
happens.
Wemby
That's
put
what
an
happens when
attempt
you're
at it.
smarter than everyone in the room, and you just want them to know about it.
It's still scumbaggery. Let's not.
Bill
that's not
Belichick
smart.
stuff. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you can't co-sign this and then not think that the shenanigans happening aren't any different. This is playing with the rules in people's faces. If you don't want to participate, don't participate. It was
They
funny.
wanted to win. They found the strategy to win because they got the rules in front of them, and they said, "This is the game we're playing," which you do in basketball as well.
I guarantee you, they did not go up to an official and say that they were about to, especially Chris. Chris
Can you?
Chris
Yes,
put the
Wemby
ball-
though. Can you imagine? Wemby's
At least
just.
Wemby put some effort into moving the ball towards the goal.
Well, he's just a bigger guy. He's a lot closer.
Chris did not. Chris went boop, 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 boop.
I will say that Wemby chest pass was fucking. That thing looked like it hurt.
Yeah, well, it would have counted if they would have put effort into it. So now we know Wemby's not skilled. That's all we know. You can't win the skills challenge. You're not skilled. It's the only way we can look at it.
Yeah, let's pull up the history of skills challenge winners and see how.
I don't think there's anything too bad, but they used to do it. My favorite way they used to do it is it used to be an NBA player, a retired player, and a
WNBA.
WNBA player.
Yes.
That was cooler, and they should go back to that. But yeah, so
here we go. Before they added stupid teams. Sabonis, Adebayo, Tatum, Dinwiddie, Porzingis, Cat, Pat Bev. Ooh, that's the worst one so far.
Pat Bev's pretty funny, yeah.
Mm.
Pat
Tony
Bev's a
Parker
good player,
won
though.
it.
Yeah, he Pat
Dame
Bev
won
was like a 4 or 5 star player out of.
No, Trey Burke's probably the worst player on this list.
Also a really good player, though, just not at the NBA level.
Maybe Dinwiddie.
Now, Dinwiddie is super talented, not a great defender.
Hey, Jason Kidd won the very first one.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that soon, but that makes sense.
2003.
Yeah, that makes sense. But that's also probably why I'm more nostalgic for it, because it was new when I was a kid. 3-point contest. That one was pretty whatever. There's too many guys.
It's just not. I mean, I
think that's the biggest problem.
just don't know that it's fun to me to watch a professional athlete stand still and shoot threes.
If it's the good ones, but like, no offense to Cade Cunningham, Norman Powell, even Jalen Brunson. You guys are good 3-point shooters. I'm not saying you're bad. I know what the percentages are, but you're not like that level where it's that entertaining, you know? Buddy Hield, Tyler Hero, Darius
I
Garland.
think even if I saw someone hit every single one, I'd be like, yeah, he should do that. There's no one guarding him. He's standing there. He's a professional basketball player.
I think the 3-point
There's a lot of pressure.
competition.
It's not the same as shooting in a gym, but I hear you.
Listen, we should rotate it every year, or like every other year. You know, you get the good 3-point shooters or the greats, and then you get the guys who should never in their life take a 3-pointer in a game, and see how many they can hit.
That'd be fun. See who can carry their crappiest teammate.
I don't mind that, because if you're going to keep the same number of people, just do 2 of them. Have the best shooter and the worst shooter. 4 of the best shooters, 4 of the worst shooters.
I'd rather watch them play knockout.
Well, I do think you could put knockout in, but I don't know if knockout would replace the 3-point contest.
No, that'll be around forever. It's built in.
If anything, you cut the Rising Stars challenge to do more stuff if you do anything. Skills challenge doesn't take enough time up for them to even worry about it. Skills challenge is on and over in 30 minutes. But yeah, the 3-point contest, that was basically my biggest takeaway. It was just the first round just felt very unnecessary, and I hated that because I really thought that the guys who ended up winning and playing well or shooting well, it would have been fun if you just clipped them and put them all back to back. It would have been a great time.
Maybe give me a basket that moves up and down as they're doing it. You know, I don't know.
But now you have the Sprite ball.
Is that just worth extra points? Is
Yeah.
it filled with Sprite?
That would be cool. Actually, I think it's not Sprite anymore. I think they changed their sponsorship
Starry.
to Starry, yeah. So yeah, that was how it went.
Starry's pretty good.
Dunk contest. This is where shit started getting a little more interesting. So let's go with the first dunk.
This year, here we go.
That wasn't it. There's the first dunks. All right, so this is nice. This is you get the 360, you get a tomahawk. That's what you want to see.
He's getting so screwed for just doing actual dunks.
Now, I agree that this one was really good, but maybe not appreciated as much.
I thought, yeah, there's one.
But
God, this
also,
bullshit.
I'm going to give this to Mac McClung, not in the whole contest necessarily, but this one, because I hated Blake Griffin's dunk.
Yeah, I mean, he did a better job than Blake Griffin did, for sure.
He did it. He actually did it this time. He dunked over the car. He almost busted ass.
He hit the car, and he went over the short side.
But that's okay. He didn't go over the hood. He went over the actual car. And that's all that mattered to me.
Look at that. What? Oh, yeah, it counts. It counts. So listen, he was too busy in the G League. Doesn't really, have a lot of time to
look. He's a talented dunker. He could be a viral dunker if he wasn't a active pro basketball player, right? We understand Mac McClung. So go to the second round. This is where I felt like it was unfortunate because Stephon Castle understood what he's great at, but it's not necessarily stuff that's as flashy as what people are going to want to see.
No, like if you don't know anything about dunking a basketball, it might not look as impressive.
And honestly, look, Mac McClung wins this whole thing because a replay, basically, right? This was incredible. I thought Mac McClung definitely won this one, though. The height that in the air that Castle got was impressive. Don't get me wrong, but Mac McClung threw this motherfucker down, and that's really what I like to see the most. And maybe that's why I didn't love that.
I thought the Dwight Howard, the one that's not even a dunk, where he's wearing the Superman cape and he gets over the basket and throws it through, like that to me was the ultimate. Like,
and it's not a force
like NBA Jam.
It was still forceful. Yeah, you get it's still the same thing. I should mention the other guys: Matas Buzelis, Andre Jackson. Matas Buzelis failed an under basket oop to start his, and then Andre Jackson just missed a bunch, and then finally just went and threw down like a really simple one. Their second one, it was Andre Jackson actually got a really nice version of the Vince Carter, two-handed windmill, and then Buzelis did a kind of meh reverse. They both were quickly eliminated after, leading us to our third round of dunks. This one, a little more creative, I will say. I don't think I've seen anyone go through the hoop than through the legs. So I thought this one, the winner was Stephon Castle. I think this was the one he got a 50 on. I know one of them he got screwed on. And I think maybe it's this one because I think I left his reaction. Yeah. A couple people. I thought that was very original. Tracy McGrady, why are you hating? This was just very TikTok-y.
It just looks like the same dunk he just did.
In a way, but now there's like there's the trendy little scooter thing, and then the guys on the ladder, and JaVale McGee did a cooler version of this, in my opinion.
Oh, I didn't even know.
I didn't notice the second ball.
Yeah, and so that
I do remember JaVale doing the 2-ball dunk.
Yeah, well, I think JaVale ended up doing a 3-1.
Man, imagine that guy drops that ball.
Yeah, right. So that was fine. Obviously.
Who blew out the cupcake? That was another cool one.
Oh, that was.
Oh my God!
Was it
Gerald
Mason?
Green?
It might have been. Is it Gerald Green or Derek Mason? I can't remember.
Gerald Green.
Gerald Green. Okay.
Yeah, that one.
That's also one of my absolute favorites.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right, so then we go into the finals. The winning dunks. Not a bad one here. Really,
dude, I think that's one of the most impressive. Dude, that is wild.
I think the casualness is awesome. He cups the ball like Dr. J. If you're going to give any points against him, it's that he barely got the cup. He didn't get the cup clean, but you really don't notice until this angle, I think. Yeah, this is the only angle you don't see it. So that's where I don't know, but he gets a 50 here, I'm pretty sure, right? And then Mac McClung also gets a 50.
I didn't see anything live, so.
Yeah, so he gets a 50 here, but so does Mac, and then that's where the decision goes. This one,
it's the same as the last two dunks.
So it is, but he's going to tap the rim, and he's also got Evan Mobley, who's 7-something, on a podium. So he's up
I see what he did there. Okay.
5. Yeah.
At first, I thought it was kind of like a weird,
just
like,
too much
dunk.
Jumping over people.
And I do agree, I'm over jumping over people. But obviously, that one was really cool.
Unless you got Bol or Wemby out there, just full arm stretched.
Well, yeah, I mean, not full arm stretch, but Evan Mobley's a tall player. He was already standing on a box there. I guess Wemby didn't want to do it, or he didn't think to ask Wemby, because it kind of looked like Wemby was. I mean, he was watching. He was sitting there the whole time. So I don't know, but
maybe he didn't want to take the spotlight away from Steph.
Yeah, well, that's actually the answer. Duh. Why would he compete against his own teammate?
Spurs, buddy.
So yeah, that was pretty much the dunk contest. It wasn't the worst in the world. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I remember at first when they were setting that up, being like, "What is this stupid shit?" And then he did it. I'm like, "That's really cool." Actually, I'm really.
There was a lot more creativity in the 2000s, which is also why I feel like people are nostalgic for it. I thought this was a decent dunk contest, all in all, with the two guys.
Oh, it looks like multiple people have tried that same dunk. Sorry.
What the?
Yeah, I feel
candle.
Yeah.
I feel at this point like every dunk that you could possibly do without, I don't know, involving like trampolines and shit has already been done. You know,
I mean, and there is a lot of truth to that. That's why I think a lot of the big time players just don't want to do it, because they're like, because they're going to get Stephon Castle treatment, right? They're going to show off their athleticism, they're going to show off their abilities, but it's not going to look as cool. It's not going to be unique, you know.
They need to get Dude Perfect involved.
Nope. Listen,
Oh,
there are
man. It feels like that's coming. You know, it does feel like that's a possibility soon.
there's plenty of people out there who just do crazy dunks on the internet for a living. Just get them involved. Just give them the spotlight.
But the dunk contest is always going to be criticized, and I think Caesar said it perfectly. There is only so much more you can do in that world. So I wasn't really that upset with the dunk contest. Maybe maybe let's just make sure that everybody's trying hard to, so that we don't have two guys just not really showing up that well and two guys putting on a pretty good performance. But there's only so much you can do. At least you got two guys putting on a good performance this time. That's better than last year. The All-Star tournament is where we really need to get into this, to the bitching. We're going to start with LeBron. This is how he showed up to picture day. This is, I believe, after we would have already known that he wasn't going to play in the game because of
within hours of that.
Anthony Edwards also rested. Giannis got a DNP, and obviously Anthony Davis was injured, so he did not play. Those are the only other All-Stars that sat out. Not mad about that from LeBron. Just thought it was funny. Just thought it's worth noting. I don't want to be a LeBron apologist to the point I don't show the stuff that he does that basically mocks the league in their face. Whether I agree with it or not, I think it's hilarious. Here is the stuff that we have to talk about. We got, just like the Rising Stars Challenge, we got 4 teams playing in a mini tournament. We had a decent selection. They basically let Shaq and Shaq and Kenny and Chuck and Candace were team captains. You had Team Young Stars, you had Team Global Stars, you had Team Rising Stars, you had Team OGs. At face value, I don't hate that. Team Rising Stars, again, though, why is Dalton Connect, Zach Edey, DFW's own Keontae George, and Amen Thompson playing against James Harden, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Dame Lillard, Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, Jaylen Brown, Anthony Davis, LeBron didn't play, but they would have been on the team. Why? I just don't understand that. If this concept is going to work, if this 4 tournament thing, please select the teams so they're actually fair. Like, how about Team Global Stars? Pascal Siakam, Karl Anthony Towns, Nikola Jokic, Wemby, Sengun, and Giannis all on one team.
Remember the NHL doing like North America versus the world one year for an All-Star game thing?
Like, these teams don't make any fucking sense. There's no primarily ball handler on one of them, or there's no wings on one of them. There's only point guards or bigs.
That's what happens when no one has a position, no one can play defense, and no one can dribble a ball. So
there was also some of that. Before we bitch about the NBA, we should laugh about some of that. Jaren Jackson decided that full court meant only so much because I think in Jaren Jackson's defense, and I'm coming to his defense because I appreciated his full court effort. He quickly abandoned that effort once he realized that as soon as he gets burnt, nobody was going to be watching his ass. I think that was understandable. So while it was great in theory, unfortunate there, Wemby did leave me a little disappointed. He said he was going to bring the Thunder, but it felt like, I think, again, that team was just built so stupidly. I think it just didn't work.
Well, also, as we found out a few days later, and we could tell from the weeks before,
he was
not been himself.
Yeah, he was lumbering, so there was obviously the extracurricular injury. But even still, that team was just built hilarious. It was just like a kid was like, let me take all the tall players and a couple of point guards. Thank you. And then Team Young Stars was fine, but it was just not good enough. That's the positive, I think. And I know that sounded like bitching, but that was mostly positive. You can fix that. Those were a couple of mistakes. All of the stuff that TNT did otherwise, I pray, was one big giant fuck you to the NBA and to the NBA audience on the way out the door. Because if the NBA does anything similar to this again, I can guarantee you I'm not going to live watch an All-Star game again because this was crazy. We got 3 hours of content, basically.
Oh, yeah, it was a college football game.
We got 27 minutes of actual basketball. We got over an hour of Kevin Hart bitching about basketball and making
over the PA system where players could hear him
for a little bit. I do think they eventually cut that though. So they learned that lesson. But I was so frustrated because I actually really liked this idea when it was presented before we saw the reality. Because obviously, if you go to LA and you go to Venice Beach, there's going to be a guy calling the game, calling the pickup game. You go to New York, you're going to have an MC. I thought Kevin Hart was actually going to understand the assignment, and the NBA was going to understand the assignment and have him just be an MC out there by himself, just making jokes. That would have been funny. Just say boom shakalaka a bunch of times. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, you don't actually have to say joke. Like, you don't have to be Kevin Hart.
Yeah. Instead, they forced the TNT crew to be Kevin Hart's, like, comedy buddy, and it just didn't go well at all. It was just all it ended up doing was Kevin Hart had to bring the jokes down to their level, so then it just became everyone bitching about 3-point shots the whole time. Then in between games, they would go to Draymond Green, who was with the other TNT crew, the Lefko crew, and then they would just bitch about the All-Star format and how much guys don't like it because they can't go for Kobe's scoring record, or how they only get to play so many minutes in the game. First of all, I'm so happy to see TNT leave. I really do hope and pray that TNT's demise at least mitigates some of this. ESPN's just as guilty in a lot of ways, but I pray that Amazon and NBC realize how upset the actual people who watch a lot of basketball are at every time they turn the volume on, hearing about people bitching about the game of basketball. If you're going to bitch about the game of basketball, go join Barstool Sports. Go watch that. Go join the All NFL podcast. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy how much these people want to complain about something. And then finally, the worst of the worst, Mr. Beast. 15 minutes of Mr. Beast cringily filming a YouTube video, which I'm sure is on YouTube. I haven't actually verified that this went on YouTube or if it was just a part of the NBA. But he basically had some random kid shooting for his college tuition against Dame Lillard. It was half-court shots. Dame had to make 3, and at the same time this kid made 1. Kid ends up making 1 basically as the clock is expiring. But before that happened, there was also this hilariously awkward segment where Mr. Beast was just not doing well. The crowd just didn't understand why they should be entertained by this. If anything, most of them probably thought it was a routine thing, like you would see at any basketball game, an intermission where someone's just shooting a shot. They just probably thought Mr. Beast was just the guy for the Warriors, And he's out there, pretending like everybody in the arena knows who he is, but I don't know that they did. And then he's like trying to get the TNT guys to come and make jokes with them and be a part of the content, and none of them do until finally Kenny comes out there. What awkward. But then finally this happens, and this got sound on this, so it's just 10 seconds.
Deep. He might not miss again. No. Get loud, everybody.
Good guy Damian Lillard finally got annoyed with Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast was really annoying. Like, there's a lot of that I didn't want to show because it was awful. But there was like a good 4 or 5 minutes. Mr. Beast was being so annoying to this kid.
That's what he is. I mean,
I get it, but like he was, and so finally for Dame to just look at him and be like, "Bro, can you just fuck off?" And then the kid makes the shot right after that to get the money. It was perfect. So as much as I hated that, I was happy at how it went. And then there was about an hour of commercial time, which is really why we're having this discussion to begin with. Is Adam Silver is certainly understanding the financial ramifications in the changing market, and he is doing these little things to add more money to the pot because I think there is a little bit of a need for it. It's probably also why we haven't heard any hard plans for expansion, despite almost a decade of solid evidence that they want to do it. We've got no real plan for it, and it makes me feel like financially there is some struggle, some worry, and this was not good.
Well, I mean, we saw it in baseball. The entire RSN thing exploded, and teams were scrambling to figure out what they're doing. And basketball is heavily built on a lot of that, just the same.
So, and it'll be fine. Amazon and NBC are gonna. I think those are great partners. Peacock's amazing. Amazon's got everybody in a chokehold. Those were good partners to go with, even if they don't produce great content right away. TNT is a dying thing. I think that's fair. It's a cable channel. It's a part of Warner Brothers.
If I want to watch Lethal Weapon on a Tuesday, though.
But like, are you going to go to Max to watch basketball? Do you think about going to Max to watch basketball?
I mean,
sports at all, just any sport.
I feel like I had to for Four Nations. If there's something that I know is going to be there that I want to watch, I don't care about going. I just need to know that it's there.
But it's about synonymous, you know. That's awesome.
Oh my God, he froze. This is perfect. Oh my God, that was beautiful. Oh, he's back. He's back.
I've just got black screen on Caesar this whole time. I don't know what.
That's crazy because you were frozen for both of us.
I don't know what just recorded, but if it recorded your screen, that's going to be epic. You got frozen in the funniest way on our screens. I don't know how I recorded for you. I am done. So if you want to end the recording and see, or I don't know if we want to go straight into football, but like
I'm just trying to get C's back.
What do you mean?
No.
I'm here.
You can't
Bethany,
hear him?
you see me, right?
You can't hear him? You see him?
Bethy, but you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear and see you, Caesar.
That's crazy. All right.
My screen has not changed at all.
This is great.
All that happened was that.
Wait, can he not see me on the bottom screen? The one that the audience can't see?
You're fully back now.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. Well, I guess let me wrap this one up. We'll take a little break and then come back for football.
That was crazy.
That was amazing. All right. I've got it.
Yeah.
I'm confident every day, to be honest.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
You appreciate his compliment?
Say again?